Lachlan Cartwright, Katie Phang, back with us to talk more about that. Katie, to you first. Kind of give me your assessment of what we just heard from Clark Brewster, Stormy Daniels' attorney.
I mean, I thought your interview was great. You kept on asking the questions that I wanted to have answered. I just wanted to kind of reset the table a little bit here. I want you to think about Stormy Daniels. Her first lawyer was Keith Davidson for this, and Keith did her wrong, right? So Keith, in his own way, was not representing her best interests in the way that he handled all of this. Then her knight in shining armor is Michael Avenatti, or so she thought. And that dude rips her off and steals from her, right?
And is now tweeting from prison.
Which is just mind-boggling. And then now she finally has Clark Brewster, who is really advocating and being a true advocate as we define them as a lawyer in that lawyer-client relationship. He's a true counselor and advocate for her. And so I think it's important for people to remember what she's been through, putting aside the grueling cross-examination, no matter how quick on her feet she was during the trial, and putting aside what you may or may want to judge her for what she does for a living. You know, she's trusted people that have done her wrong, that have betrayed her trust. So for her to have the pressure, and we heard it from Clark, that she almost kind of had like a panic attack when it really came time to come and do this, it just humanizes her even more so than what we saw from her. There was a bravery we saw from her on the stand, and yet hearing from Clark Brewster that she got scared. I mean, remember, she had the issue in the parking lot in Vegas at the gym with her infant child. I mean, she was on the Trump list where she couldn't get across the border. I mean, there were all these things that happened to her, and she's been targeted by various people. And I think we need to kind of just take a second and say, I talked to Ali Velshi about his small acts of courage. It's a big act of courage for what this woman did to be able to testify and get this done.
And you think about Lachlan, her testimony, and one of the reasons why I asked Clark about how she felt about describing that night back in 2006, no matter what you do for a living, that cannot be easy. And especially during cross-examination with Susan Echols, in which she kind of at one point said to Stormy, well, you should be used to this kind of thing. You should be used to being put in this type of position, right? In a hotel room of a man of power and having sex with him. And it reminds me of what so many young women go through when they claim sexual assault, right? You were wearing a short skirt, you were drunk, you deserved it, you were asking for it. And that was a real shocking moment, I think, for me during Cross, right? In which she was, while she's faced so much attack outside of this courtroom, right? She was being attacked for what she does and who she is inside the court, not just for the story that she was telling, not just for her testimony, but for who she was.
And that was just one of many attacks that they tried to go at her for her work and for the person that she is, and it just didn't land with the jury. And she was just fantastic how she managed to just redirect them every time they were trying to go at her. But, you know, you got to think about this. She's been the face of this hush money trial. Like, you know, before we kind of, I think people appreciated the wider, you know, consequence of this being about election interference. It was Stormy Daniels, hush money. And how must that be that you're, you know, on the face of every publication in the lead up to this trial? And she came in there and she sat through her testimony and was just absolutely brilliant on the stand. And I think, you know, due credit to her. And as her attorney was saying, you know, someone who sat through a lot of this trial, you know, Judge Merchan could not have been fairer in this matter, you know, particularly to the defence. And anyone who is saying that this was somehow rigged or anything like that, I wish there were cameras in there to see what I got to see over the last several weeks, because this was a fair trial, you know, no doubt.
And there were many moments in which Merchan was chiding Stormy Daniels, especially during direct, right?
Trying to check her from being too much or whatever. And I just wanted to quickly say it was a legal strategy that came from the defense to attack her for who she is as a woman and for her professional life choices. All you had to do on the defense is get up on cross and just say, you didn't have anything to do with the Trump Organization things. You weren't there for that meeting in Trump Tower. You weren't there for these documents. You have no personal basis knowledge. No further questions, Your Honor. Sit down. And then you get up in closing and say, you don't have to listen to this woman. Everything she said was so superfluous because none of it speaks to the facts of this case or the issues in this case. But they wanted to make her feel this small, because that's what Donald Trump does. He wants to make people feel small. He does it all the time. And he thought it was going to work, and it backfired.
Well, and by the way, he's still denying that it even happened,
which is an absurd strategy
yesterday in the press conference. Katie Lachlan, thank you. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more of you, both of you.